What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Beausoleil, and that is the one and only making his return, Mr. Brad Davidson. Brad, what's going on, buddy?
Not too much. It's been a while. I feel like the stealth, my stealthiness of Gollum has finally made its return.
We're starting
and not at all, actually.
We're starting on fire already. This is how it's gonna go. Gollum, not a good game. We'll be telling you all about that this week on ITG. Man, am I having some problems with that one? Holy, that thing's on garbage can on fire right now, that thing. But either way, Brad, it's great to have you back, dude. Before we even get started, what you been up to?
Well, we just actually announced our Northern Game Expo for the fall. Not an official date yet, but just to get the hype going. Been doing a lot of that. Not really haven't given up the podcast, but haven't really been active on it. And of course, gaming. I mean, that's what we do, right?
It is. What are you gaming right now? Actually, let's hold it till the end of the show. We'll hold that till the end of the show.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
A little sneak peek of what's coming up. Because we have a lot to talk about today, where you can join us live. It is 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday, over on youtube.com/InsideTheGameOfficial, as well as twitch.tv/InsideTheITG. Man, the official ITG. We've mixed things around, Brad, and I got to get things sorted back out. I'm telling you. We're trying a couple things. Well, one day we'll get there. And of course, if you can't join us live, that means you should hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services, thanks to Fired Up Network. You can join us over there on SoundCloud and all those streaming services over there, of course. And lastly, but not last of all, television networks, Brad. That we are across the TV ecosphere everywhere, each and every day. Dude, let's talk about today's show coming up. It's Naughty Dog speaks out about The Last of Us multiplayer absence from the PlayStation Showcase. And it also mentions a single player experience. Yep. Oh, we saw that one coming. God of
Doesn't
War.
look good already.
Oh, dude, I'm definitely I'm so worried now. God of War Ragnarok developers are hiring for their next God of War title, and Guerrilla Games looks to be creating lasting friendships in their next title. Let's get going, Brad. Over on Twitter, Naughty Dog had this to say. We know many of you have been looking forward to hearing more about our Last of Us multiplayer game. We're incredibly proud of the job our studio has done thus far, but as development has continued, we've realized what is best for the game. It is to give it more time. Our team will continue to work on the project, as well as our other games in development, including a brand new single player experience. We look forward to sharing more soon. We're grateful to have our fantastic community for your support. Thank you for your passion for our games. It continues to drive us. That was Naughty Dog, Brad, over on Twitter. Right shortly after the disappearance of the fact that there was no multiplayer coverage of The Last of Us over in the showcase whatsoever. Like nothing, not a mention, not a Last of Us tease, not a whatever. Scott is joining us live right now over on YouTube. What's up, Scotty? Good to see you hanging out at least somewhere, buddy. Brad, what are your thoughts on this? Because, man, I'm worried now. Very, very worried. We'll talk more about why in a second.
Well, first I gotta take shots at PlayStation because the showcase wasn't even at the showcase. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't know. It's not canceled, but like that's the nice way of saying, like, to me anyways, that it's going to be canceled. I don't know. It's just you put all your chickens in one basket there, and then all of a sudden it's like it's almost like Square Enix. Well, it didn't meet our expectations, and if it hasn't, if they're scaling back already, it has me a little bit worried too.
Speaking of scaling back, the Last of Us multiplayer game has reportedly been scaled back. This is Andy Robinson over at VGC. Sony has reportedly scaled back the size of Naughty Dog's The Last of Us multiplayer game, following an evaluation of the project by the platform holder and newly acquired Bungie. What the heck just happened there? This is where I'm going, oh no, yeah. Please don't do this. According to Bloomberg, the number of people working on the project have been reduced, partly as part of the Destiny Studios' feedback as to its quality and viability. Bungie raised questions about the Last of Us multiplayer project's ability to keep players engaged for a long period of time, which led to the reassessment, the Bloomberg report claims. Uh-oh, Brad, this is not good. As development has continued, we've realized that this is the best for the game to give it more time, due to the fact that it is Bungie's feedback. This sucks. This really is not a good situation, not a good move. They've come out and said that they're working on this multiplayer game to give you an experience with story in the multiplayer. Brad, did you play Factions back in the day?
I did not.
What?
I know, and I don't know. I'm not really like an online. I'm more of the single player.
Sure.
I've seen it, but it's just one of those.
Kyle says dead game. Go away, Kyle. It does sound like it's going to be dead before it gets started. And this is very concerning, right? When you talk to Bungie, though, who have been able to keep Destiny alive for so long, then we get into how do you keep... We talk about this all the time on the show, Scott and I, and you and me personally, I think over the course of the last couple of years, that games of service needs to have a long roadmap already set forth and in production, if not partway done, before the game even launches. And if Bungie themselves, who have been able to keep Destiny going for now 10 years, Brad, has it been 10 years? It feels
something
like
that, yeah.
Right? They've been able to keep that community get engaged and keep it going. How do you do that with The Last of Us? Man, I think there's a ton of opportunity here to be able to do that. When they announced that they're bringing over a multiplayer Factions too, we kind of questioned when it didn't come out right at when it came out with The Last of Us Part 2, where was the multiplayer side of it. While we're working on this other experience that's going to keep you going. Sony talks heavily about how they got this major game plan for their games of service model moving forward with 10 to, I think they've upped it now to like 13 games in production. The Last of Us multiplayer Factions kind of felt like that was one of their games in that pocket, right? And for me, now I'm going, this doesn't seem like it's going to go over very well whatsoever. Factions I played a ton of back in the day. I thought it was fantastic. This was like this mini battle royale sort of thing, team based, mind you, but it was still kind of a go out, scavenge, gather your resources, build your equipment, and then go out and take out the other team. And there's a bunch of cool things in that, which I thought they could build off of moving forward. Then they're talking about bringing in some single player story content to the next multiplayer side of it, and now it doesn't sound like this is gonna happen. Brad, do you think we're gonna see this at all?
Do you think we'll see Skull and Bones?
Oh man, that's
no,
fair.
It's hard to say because, I mean, there was this huge rumor that we were gonna see something at the Not Showcase,
Yep.
and it never happened. And I don't know, like I'm confident in what Naughty Dog does, but like you said, like this is a bit nerve-wracking because you don't hear anything for so long. They put out that initial tweet and then the second one with Bungie. Now I trust Bungie too, and if they say that it's going to be a hard thing to maintain, like you said, Destiny 2's been around for 10 plus, or Destiny in general has been around for 10 plus years. They know what they're talking about. So I don't know. I'm worried that if when it does release, it's going to be another one of those things. And I'm not throwing shots at Redfall, but no one's talking about Redfall anymore.
Well,
but so like you it's hard to say. Like I honestly I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of worry, right? When you do see the fall of Redfall coming out and just falling so flat on its face with The Last of Us. This is kind of where I thought things were lining itself up, Brad. It was The Last of Us Last of Us 2 came out, fantastic, well received, everybody loved it, it was great. The Last of Us HBO show comes out, everybody loves it. We're still talking The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
Everybody follows the series around. Now, not only have you just gathered people who've never seen or played The Last of Us or The Last of Us Part 2, now you're getting them into the show. All of a sudden, now their interest starts to peak. Yeah. Okay, show's over, game is done. How do you keep that conversation alive? You bring out the multiplayer.
Yeah.
There is no multiplayer. And they even brought over, I can't remember who it was, but they brought somebody in to hone in on their battle pass. And how are they going to craft this battle pass to keep us engaged, keep us going, right? Here's the thing. I play Siege on a daily basis. There's a battle pass in there, and there's challenges. I did not look at the challenges once this entire season and capped out that battle pass. I didn't need the challenges. I just played the game. Granted, there's two sides to that, right? One, play the game. Eventually, you'll get it done. But two, some of these challenges should be somewhat tailored to the battle pass to make me look at these challenges and then, entice me enough to go, I need to go get this challenge in order to level myself up. That's not the case here. And I wonder if they're starting to fall into that. And then you take a look at the long distance roadmap, is there not enough content planned in the right way to keep us engaged? And it seems like that's what Bungie's point is that this isn't a long enough roadmap that's going to work.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at all those, look at all the online multiplayer games like that, with the exception of Rainbow Six, but it's like Vampire the Masquerade, like all these online games, you don't hear about it anymore. I don't know what's going on with For Honor. I mean, that's more of an actual just online only, but like maybe they're seeing it and they're like they're worried too, so they're going to keep a team on, and if maybe Bungie says, okay, this isn't going to work, scrap it, or I don't know. But just so then that way it's still going, but it's not going to be as exuberant as maybe they were hoping. So,
well, that's fair, right? Like multiplayer used to be just a multiplayer game. Now multiplayer is more than what it used to be. There is a longevity of how do we keep you around in our game only, right? The Division. I talk about the Division and Division 2 all the time because Massive does it so well that they keep them going around. Battle Pass and Siege was great. Halo is awful example. That was Scott saying Halo sucks, right? It does. And I said Halo Infinite is not infinite. Halo is done. Yeah. In my eyes, I think Halo is in a lot of trouble because they weren't able to keep their community alive as well. So if you do that here at The Last of Us, dude, we're in trouble. Here's the thing. They downscale their team. Why is that? Because they're working on a new single player called The Last of Us Part 3, Brad. That's what's coming next.
Fingers crossed. The 2 ended. If they were going to end it that way, then it's a okay ending. It's not a series finale, it's a season finale.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just you can't really take what anyone says on Twitter seriously, but when it's trending all the time, typically there's a story behind that. So
Usually, right? And this was right from Naughty Dog's Twitter saying that they are also working on a brand new single player experience. Now,
Yeah.
granted, we also heard rumors that it's something completely different. So are they going to take a year off of The Last of Us and just go somewhere else completely? We've heard, what is it, fantasy that they're actually talking about? So
something like that. And then they teased Nathan Drake's daughter in one of those news commercials,
Yeah,
a brief
yeah,
thing. So are we going to
right?
get an Uncharted with her?
So many questions
Yeah.
with Naughty Dog. Definitely a lot of concerns though when it comes out to the multiplayer. Brad, 12 minutes into the episode, almost 13. We should probably move on to the next topic, which is still
There's so much to talk about there.
well. We could have the whole show just dedicated to Naughty Dog and a lot of the questions and concerns. But some exciting news: Sony Santa Monica Studio appears to be hiring for God of War Ragnarok's sequel. This is Joseph over at Game Rant. The team behind God of War franchise is seemingly on the hunt for people to help create the next entry in the franchise. Santa Monica Studios, a wholly owned subsidiary of Sony, released God of War Ragnarok in 2022. Never heard of it. Although it missed out on the coveted Game of the Year award to Elden Ring, granted, well deserved, God of War Ragnarok was critically a hit when it hit the shelves on PS5 and PS4. Brad praised. Was lived in the rich narrative district, distinct characters, and engaging combat. Now, it seems Sony Santa Monica is wanting to quickly build on that success by beginning to recruit process for what is expected to be the next entry in the franchise, which started way back on PS2. Brad, are you surprised that they're working on God of War 3 at all?
Not at all. I have. It's still a fairly new game, so like trying to avoid spoilers. But I always with one of the characters and how his story arc kind of went dark. I have a feeling that he's going to play a predominant role in the next one, which is going to continue on somewhere else. And we actually, like one of my friends, we were talking about this before. He said, like he really liked the series, but he preferred the Rage Kratos. And like, is this next entry possibly going to be where there's going to be like a certain death potentially, and then Kratos just completely loses his mind and goes back to that vengeance-filled ghost in this new thing? It's hard to say, but like I can see that might be where they want to take it. I think the whole Norse thing is finished, and they're going to have to do something else.
So I think they move on. I think maybe now God of War isn't really God of War without Kratos, but I think the introduction of Atreus opens up opportunities and new windows for what we could see in the future when it comes to God of War spinoff. Maybe we don't get God of War 3, we get God of War 2.5, and this is where we get more of an Atreus focused game. I think that's without getting into that.
You can't say anything, but I can tell you that if they and I love the God of War series.
Yeah.
But if they were to come out with a game, like a whole game that was like 40 hours in length with just Atreus, I probably wouldn't play it. I didn't mind him, but I don't think he's good enough to carry the series because it's God of War, it's Kratos, it's not Atreus.
I think they passed the torch. I think we're going to see them move on. I think Kratos will be there in presence. We'll have snippets of Kratos throughout, but I think they're going to start to slowly move things away from him a little bit and introduce other characters, open up new opportunities. I thought Ragnarok was fantastic. It was my game of the year. It was a stunning, beautiful game. The gameplay was so addictive. It was so cool, so fluid, and it was fantastic. And the story I thought was incredible. Granted, going to Elden Ring, I get it, right? I'm not an Elden Ring guy, so
it's the same as me.
Yeah, but I can appreciate what Elden Ring is and why it did get that. But when it comes to God of War and where they take it next, without giving into spoilers, I really kind of think they just pass the torch over, and then we see this whole other side, and we fall back into some of the sub stories too of his mother a little bit as well, right? And the role she played not only within the God of War remake, but the God of War Ragnarok as well. So they got like two kind of games to pull from and where we can see Atreus go next. I think it's cool. Opens up opportunities. So, but man, God of War Ragnarok, what an incredible game. Dude, sticking with more PlayStation, because this is a Brad show if I've ever seen one. Horizon developers' upcoming game aims to bring players together to form lasting friendships. Miguel over at VGC. An upcoming game for Horizon Zero Dawn developers game aims to promote human connection by creating experiences that will urge gamers to play together and form lasting friendships. Guerrilla Games is known for its, obviously, Horizon and Killzone franchise. Rest in peace to Killzone. Dude, the biggest.
I think it'll come back.
Do you? Okay, so,
I just think it's dormant. I don't think they're done with it. Scott shared something that said hashtag. It was by Guerrilla Games. It said hashtag. Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. You just said the title too.
Killzone.
Yeah, Killzone 3 or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like a tease and it's not actually going to happen, but. Who knows?
According to the website, Guerrilla Games is looking for a senior social systems designer who has a passion for bringing players together to form lasting friendships. The job description further describes the needs to design innovative features to build, engage, and nurture player interactions and relationships. Dude, this is another one of those games of service jobs, right? Like, this is where we kind of get into this games of service model. They have about, that's what I said, 10 to 13 now. You can't keep up. But if they're going to build off of one franchise, Brad, I think they build off of Horizon. Horizon has been that one to take them to the next level, right? Guerrilla now is becoming rather popular. If we've often talked here now too, we've heard rumors of a Monster Hunter-esque Horizon game. Yo. Like, really? I'll be down. I'll be lost for hours, Brad, in the hunt for this, hanging out with my brother, hanging out with you, hanging out with Scott if he ever decides to get a PS5. Scott, you suck. And we'll see where it kind of goes from there, right? Yeah, I'm taking shots at Scott. He's not here today. He'll be back tomorrow, though. So, but it's one of those things. If we can get into this and we get these long-lasting friendships they're talking about, I'm like, I already have friendships, but yo, I'm always down for some more. But it's one of those, give me the multiplayer aspect of this.
Well, they kind of have it already, though. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like with the board game, like I showed you all, like,
come on.
But I mean that but I mean like, but in the sense that like it's building friendships and then crushing their dreams while you're sabotaging them. But like everything that is in that docket there is basically what the board game is about. So like maybe they bring on Steamforge, who made the board game, and like put not make it into a board game, but like take those rules, if you will, and apply it to that type, if that's what they're going for.
Which is yeah, absolutely, that's fair, right? Kyle says he doesn't have a PS5 either. Well, shame on you. Man, the problem is PlayStation is so heavily focused and ingrained in their single player content. We're overdue to see them expand and branch out a little bit to some of that multiplayer side that we haven't really seen come out of them very often, right? It's been more on the Xbox side of things, and of course PC. But it would be nice to see them branch out with some of their biggest IPs. A lot of rumors were flying around that Insomniac's next game with Spider-Man 2 was going to have multiplayer with, well, co-op. I wouldn't call it multiplayer, but co-op, right? I'm like, well, that'd be an interesting take. Instead, it's not the case. They came out and swatted that one and said, no, this is a single player focused game. But if we get the opportunity here, like the map of Forbidden West is so big, Brad, there's so many opportunities just to build off of that map. Kind of like how Tears of the Kingdom have built off of Breath of the Wild's map, and then expanded on that. I think we can do that here with Guerrilla as well, and be able to get into this multiplayer side of it. Kyle or Scott's calling it Horizon Hunters. I'm like, yo, that's a sick name, dude. Don't give for that one. So yeah, there is that. Brad, before we wrap up, we do have a couple games out today, and then I want to talk about what you've been playing. What do we have coming out today?
So today we have Shame Legacy on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and I'm assuming S. System Shock Remastered, all so on the Linux, Mac, PC, PS4, Xbox One. Everdream Valley, PC, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch, and Return to Grace on the PC.
There we go. Brad, before we get out of here, though, it's been a while since we've had you on the show. What are you playing lately?
I can't really play anything that's going to invest too much time, because if I...
Oh, wait, lost your audio. Oh, dude, we lost you at the end. Yeah. We're going to have to get you to bounce out and come back in. All right, we're gonna get Brad right back here, everybody. He's just lost his audio for some glitch. Probably my computer, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It's the way this show normally goes. Scott knows all too well. So we'll get him back in here in a quick sec. See what he's up to. On the other hand, we'll see. There he is. Can we hear?
Is it working?
There, you're back, my friend. You are back.
My camera's not though.
There you go.
Okay, so
what are you playing?
Very quickly, so I can't really get invested into anything right now because Final Fantasy 16 comes out in less than a month. I'm playing the remaster of Snow Brothers, which was a title from the Nintendo. Dio Field Chronicles on the Switch, which is kind of like a Final Fantasy Tactics spin-off. Okay. If you will.
Sure.
Spider-Man, because that's coming out soon too. And what else? There's
have you done the DLC for Spider-Man?
Yeah. All like with Black Cat and it was fun. It's very funny to see a different version looking of Peter Parker though from PS4 to PS5.
Right? Yeah.
So
that's fair.
But yeah, that's what's got my time until 16 comes out.
Well, it's not like you're not short of games, right? We always say there's always something new and exciting to play, and there's always lots going on. So there's always something to kind of tie you over until the next big release or whatever is kind of holding you until that moment. Did you play Jedi Survivor?
I did beat it. New Game Plus is broken, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. We've seen the discussion going around of what's your game of the year right now. Brad, what is your game of the year so far?
So far, I mean, there's so many contenders coming, but I'd have to say Jedi Survivor just based on, again, I haven't played Zelda. Final Fantasy 16 is not out. That's a strong contender, apparently. But based on what I've played is Jedi Survivor. That's
fair. I'm right there with you. Big discussion right now, obviously, with Tears of the Kingdom being out, that it's taking everybody's right now for Tears of the Kingdom for Game of the Year. I can see it winning, but yeah, there are a couple contenders. I really don't think Starfield stands a chance, though, against it. Just my thoughts on that one. For me, though, it is Jedi Survivor as well. I'm right there. There was one game when I put it down, I was right back in. And I'm reviewing right now Tears of the Kingdom, right? So I'm heavily invested in that world. I got over 10 hours, but I feel like I've just scratched the surface. So I still got a lot more to go. Scott and I will be reviewing that one. So there's a lot happening. There's so many more games still ahead of us. Like you say, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, we're far from being done for the year. It's going to be an interesting conversation, one I look forward to having with a lot of people. It's going to be cool. Kyle, I'm going to block you in a second. Anthem Game of the Year. That hurts, man. That one's a deep cut right there. But everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Brad, before we go, where can we find you?
Not really active anywhere right now. Instagram, Northern Nerdcast, also northern.gaming.events. Facebook, Northern Nerdcast. Not really on Twitter so much anymore, but Northern Nerds CST.
Awesome. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew. That's been Brad. We'll see you inside the game.